8 hours.
Well, then you have to, like, you know, click.
8 hours? What? Do we have sound, by the way? I'm just curious. I know I can see myself talking.
I don't. I mean, I could just. We should.
Yeah, I can see we're recording sound, but I mean, can we hear somebody if they talk?
Huh.
There you go.
That would be a no.
That would be
Useful.
What'd you say, Andy?
Useful.
Oh, yeah.
like the speaker. What are you looking for? Sound.
That's probably the agenda.
Right.
Sorry. Frank, you're getting an Amazon
What did you order?
order right now.
Actually, I found my place this time.
And it has arrived. Huh?
Hello. I stole one or more of your markers yesterday. Your father and I were drafting up signs for that insert when we were at the AC room and I needed to draw.
Yeah,
I found my place to pens, and that was what I found for my Sigma Silvers. Sharpie. I don't know. I haven't stolen from me. It's went back
Oh,
in the bag.
hello, Joanna.
It's like,
No, she drew it back up.
Very good. So you're here now?
We're going to find out. Okay, no, we can't. Why can't we hear anything?
This is over HDMI.
Oh, okay. So that no, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Okay, just don't do anything.
actually, that means that we just need to turn up the volume on the television.
No, actually, I have to change the output. Should be this one, I believe. Okay. Now. Ooh. Okay. Now we need to turn up the volume on the TV. Because it isn't open.
Okay, I have a setting higher than allowed.
Oh, actually, hang on.
Nobody's laughing.
I've already hit the mute. Nothing I can do about it until
Yeah, I'm on mute too.
Yeah, but it's just a text over.
There you go. Okay. All right, what was I doing? Right. Undo that.
Yeah.
Then play that exercise. Everything else. No, this doesn't have the loudness. Yeah. Okay, so I can't make it louder.
Now, how would I share the screen?
It should be right here, the green button. That should be okay. Get to Andy's. You might want to make it a single page and zoom in really far.
You think?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, Andy?
I was being incredibly sarcastic towards you because that's what I'm trying to do.
I know you were being sarcastic.
Also, in other science news, we finally have a simple test confirming that the standard model is indeed broken. Great.
Get louder with an explanation of that, please.
Okay, so created muonic deuterium. So a muon instead of an electron. Which
That was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
That was just hydrogen that they created the first time. This time they actually created a deuterium so that they could check with greater certainty whether it was a statistical fluke or not. And it changed the radius of the proton, made it smaller by about 14% with a confidence of 7.5 sigma, which is a lot. For reference, anything above 5 sigma is considered a discovery of certainty. So hooray! We found a way to break physics.
So,
Also, might provide an explanation for muonic catalyzed fusion.
And lots of stuff. Alright. 2 minutes and counting. Alright, ready? I guess we're not getting anybody else. So. Let's start this thing. Welcome to.
Frank, you could put it back to thank you.
Yes. So, this is the Cyberia stated meeting for August 12th, 2016. We want to go around the room, take note of who is here.
I grab some treasure.
Austin Owens, Events and Facility.
Bill Van Blyman. And it's Sarah, secretary.
Dave Norris, President. That's it. So, so we have Joanna Conrad meeting online. All right. So on to old business. Laser cutter update. So the short version there is we have a laser cutter. It is a 300 by 500 millimeter working area, 40 watt, and it is somewhat temporary. We will be getting a larger 1300 by 900, I think 130 watt laser in a couple months or so. We are working to get scheduling and billing set up so people can schedule time slots on the laser. Should be of ASAP, it says here.
Yes, hopefully by the end of next week. Depends on what all our site has to do.
All right. All right. So next item, we are still working on the makerspace room. We were able to open the vent in the ceiling out the roof after much pain by this guy
And Nick Owens.
and Mick. So yay, at least have a vent to vent out the hot air. Still working on air conditioning, but it does get at least cool in here.
Yes, it's definitely better in here than it was before.
So, update on cleaning and reorganizing and painting the workshop. Do we have such a thing?
Yeah, we've been working to get. We had someone come in to help with or to get community service hours done. They helped a lot with cleaning up some of the things that were downstairs, moving them upstairs. We've got access to a trailer, so on Monday we'll be taking all of the stuff in the center area upstairs that needs to go to recycling, along with as much as we can downstairs. Aside from that, we're also working on plans for building a sectioning off the furnace and putting a barrier between the wood shop and the front area to help keep down travel dust and noise and things like that.
Okay. Good. So lots of junk out and everything else pretty much reasonably organized.
Yeah.
Very good. We are going to consume a lot of space with the new laser. So, Gen Con updates. Infest and Barnes & Noble and kindergartners. So, what we got as an update there?
GCOM went well.
Yeah, we had at Gen Con we did a make and take and a what is a makerspace, makerspaces 101 speech. The class was attended by 12 people, and half of them managed to successfully make a comm badge that they can take with them. The other half are still waiting to solidify a week later. We passed out over 100. We passed out 100 of the ribbons for people, and hopefully we will be seeing some new interest from cosplayers because of that.
So, Barnes & Noble, kindergartners.
Barnes & Noble went fairly well. We made $162 from that event. Further strengthen the relationship with Barnes & Noble. We'll also be doing the Mini Maker Fair again with them this November. Hold on, I have the dates for that. Just got them today. Which is November 5th and 6th this year, Sunday. And then the kindercars, after a long struggle against the heavens, we succeeded in delivering cars. Andy, would you like to add any more input?
Yeah, we made 34 cars that the kids had designed the patterns for. We managed to unsuccessfully cut the stickers on the pre-cut, but luckily this is pointed out that we need to get it exchanged for one that works correctly. The kids had a fun time building them. The daycare that we had partnered with was very happy, and the amount that we are billing to them is $85.
And that will cover the cost of all the filament that was used. And laser time.
Excellent. Hamfest. Great.
Hamfest went pretty well. We made something in the order of $245, I want to say, off of sales at Hamfest. So we got rid of some of the stuff we had laying around. The large majority of stuff that we sold was the stuff that we got from Kirby Risk. So the junk stuff that we offered, not really a even moderately sought after item. I think we had like 2 sales of that stuff. So revisiting the plans on keeping stuff around to sell.
Yeah, people don't want junk. That's why it's here.
Yeah. So,
Pretty simple.
so yeah, went well. Got our name out of bits. Got the marketing booth finally set up, so we now have a nice stand that we can take to these types of events and show a whole bunch of information about us on. That's pretty much it.
Cool. One thing we forgot about on the business was the ham radio testing.
Oh, you're right. I did forget about that. Tell me about ham radio testing. How did that go?
It went really well. We got I think five people took a test and passed it, 2 failed. I think that resulted in 4 new hams. And it seems like there were 6 that passed. Anyway, I think it was 4 new hams and 2 upgrades. That was nice. Also, had a radio programming session that kind of was impromptu at the thing as well, so that attracted quite a few people to our open house on the day when Gen Con stepped away for
Yes.
house. So we probably had 20 people here so to the open house. All right, so on to committee reports. Executive committee. Let's see. What do I have? So just still trying to encourage people to use Jira. I suppose I will be setting up a time when we can go over that again here soon. Working on the bylaws rewrite, still waiting to make sure that we're ready to deploy, which I think we are. Pretty close. Okay. Pretty good. And that's the main thing there. Leadership committee.
We have members. Really. In fact, we're signing up our most recent member today. Give me a second here. I'm going to check the tote board, Jerry, and see how many members we have currently. At present, we have 46 members that are currently showing as active.
That's an increase from last month.
No, it was 46 last month.
Really?
Yeah.
Almost. Okay, never mind.
We lost him, I believe.
Yes, we did. So we're holding steady.
Yeah.
We definitely need to see a rise.
Indeed.
Which bleeds into trifle. So let me just throw out there, I don't know where there's some kind of a project, but
Marketing,
Okay.
Marketing.
please hold off.
So, well,
Member brochures were pushed back again, and I hope to have the new member pamphlets done by the end of this month.
okay. Very good. Short. Building.
We cleaned the bin. It was very awful, but it got clean.
Very pretty awful, but it's cool.
So now it's about 10 degrees cooler than what it was, so we're at only 75 to 80 degrees instead of 90 constantly.
You may have starved your own.
But it was not for a loss. Their souls will go well towards the endeavors of the organization.
Excellent.
We still have left to do to event situation, put in a new fan or repair the old fan, just a new motor and belt. We also, I believe, got the blower trial repaired, block thing.
Oh, I missed it with the screen.
Missed that.
No, it actually just quieted down on its own.
Alarming.
Yeah.
Hey, got done.
So,
All right, I will check on that and let's see where we're at.
if you're just to completely rip itself apart.
What else is going on? We are working on setting up the display cabinets in the makerspace room. Also working on,
That's not over there.
yeah, you can see them, the
Right
two
away.
wood things next to Andy.
Needs repair.
Relax it.
I believe that's all of the pressing issues for building committee that have not been touched on elsewhere.
The strikers,
Strikers, door strikers.
did they get replaced?
We have the replacement.
Right, we had the replacement last month.
Yeah.
Last month I was just checking to see did they get replaced this.
They have not been replaced yet. We're pretty much just waiting for them to break back in. That way we can replace them and save some more time. Until we get the new, different door lock that won't fail in 6 months.
We also need to fix the door. The hinges looks really wrong.
Yes.
Bearings are gone. So, that way you can make sure to fix hinges.
That's on the beta door or beta and alpha?
Probably every door in this building.
Beta door for sure.
Yeah. If you take the handle and you lift, the door moves. So it's leaning, and the more we use it, the worse it's getting.
Yeah, it's definitely loose on this.
So,
That's the hinges.
yeah,
That's the hinges.
yeah, the hinges have, yeah, they have bearings, and the bearings are just off.
Very, very 1.1
Yes.
The bearings of those.
Oh yeah.
hands.
No bearings. They're literally bearings. The pins go through center of just they're like skate bearings.
Huh.
They're just really small. Yeah. So the center of the skate bearings are worn out. So anyway, that's going to be replacing it.
Nominate President Dave for a tutorial on bearing hinges for Cyberia and Outreach Tech Tip.
Very good. I got one from the door expert. So. All for buildings. That's it. All right. Treasury.
Treasury. So, got in touch, had a meeting with Mary Lett. She has taken over all of the catching up on the finances. She is finishing that up as we speak today. Let's see. She also put us in contact with someone that she knew at the nonprofit section of PNC. After talking with that person, the whole situation has finally kind of cleared up with what has happened at PNC. So we actually have not been in limbo for the past however long we think we've been in limbo. We've actually been just flat out denied since they first denied us. So we are not getting a credit card without the guarantor from PNC. But at this point, we're now to the question where do we need one because we're
Thanks.
the current laser situation.
Right.
So that's where that stands. The accounts are all in good standing.
Email balances.
I can pull them up. Yes.
You don't
I know.
have to. You don't have to. But you are. But this is just a reminder that I need to submit to record the balances and profit and loss for the month.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody like the balances?
No, I don't think we need to read them out. I just wanted to make sure that you had them so they can be submitted. Yes, for the record. Yes.
They exist.
And especially once Mary Lett is done, we will have the pretty reports.
Okay. Bill printer.
I have this already. I believe so, yes.
Okay. Does Teal want to be marketing for today?
Well, I can throw a little bit out there. The trifold, I think, looks great. We'd love to bring up at the weekly the lapidary aspect of that, which hasn't been tacked down as far as contractually or whatever that needs to get worked out. But otherwise, I think the trifold looks good. A lot of thumbs. Can always use more thumbs. I think a border of thumbs all the way around the top facing down would sort of balance that out. But aside from that, I went and handed some out to the Indianapolis Military Surplus on Washington Street, the Radio Shack right across the street. I've heard of us directly. For some reason, the manager there. And then also the Meadows Supermarket was very happy to have a trifold from us. I've been talking about this for 3 months with them. And I only gave them about a dozen at most. And they said those would be gone in no time. That's what they said. The manager of the store really likes us, tells a lot of people about us coming in buying stock metal from them. So if they show any interest in the knife that's on display by one of their customers, then they send them towards us. Which is crazy, because I said I make knives, so now somehow I'm supposed to know something about this. Or we're also capable of making knives here. I don't know. I keep pushing this point. But Metal Supermarket really likes us, and I think if we could give them, if they are successful in handing those out, then I think we should make them a mainstay. I did talk to Lowe's today as well. One of the guys and the manager, we have a website for looking up any used owner's manual or owner's manuals of any tool on demand. But I told him about us and our needs in the 80 gallon compressor range. They are supposedly going to be shutting out a large amount of the blue cobalt line or something, and their 14-inch band saws are included in that. So he said you should really come and talk to the manager because they may be interested in working that out as far as the 501. I don't know how to approach that properly, but to me, 2 of those cobalt 14-inch, not Harbor Freight 14-inch bandsaws, would be a little bit more braggy, or a lot more braggy, potentially, when it comes to, we have one in the metal shop and one in the wood shop, and they are killing it for bandsaw.
Sounds good.
So those are $449 retail. If they're closing that line out, I'd love to get in. I know that's a long shot, but I just figured I'd throw that out there. That's a beautiful little thing. That ties into equipment, but I am doing a little bit of marketing, advertising, and as soon as we can get either 1,000 or 5,000 of those trifolds, I have a whole bunch more places in the local area that I'd love to see, all the way up to Rockwood and Woodcraft on the north side, both of which Rockwood knows us. Love the handheld trifolds, put them on display. Kroger's, Marshes, as we've discussed in the past, thrilling to be able to start to advertise in a very direct way. And as soon as those are in hand, I urge all members to consider possibilities of gunning knife shows, art festivals, and the like, where 3, 4, 5 of us are handing out trifles to people walking in the door or whatever, just to blast through 1,000 of them in a day. That's got to account for 0.7% membership spike. Very nice. Very nice. So that's where I'm at on marketing, whatever that's worth. I don't know if Nick is waiting for the go-ahead from the board to order those, but when I addressed it,
He's waiting for money. He's supposed to have present. He's supposed to be here tonight to present how much money he needs in order to do them, or send somebody with that information. So is he
Do not have that information.
vulnerable?
Not right now.
Okay.
So,
So that's pushed off for another month because of that.
Okay.
also on the subject of marketing, starting to build up some good initial tips. I got about 3 more from people, so really happy about that. On those, just really want to reiterate that we do need those, and keep pushing forward. Let's not get too excited over the few that we got. That's a really great starting point. Got to keep pushing forward harder on it.
So since you're bringing this up in the general meeting,
Yeah.
are you saying that we want to make an open call to all members to participate in the tech tips? Because normally this is because nobody else at the meeting, besides the executive board, know what you're talking about. So you might want to fill in a little bit more.
So what the tech tips are is at a board meeting about a month ago now,
A month ago, yes.
about a month ago, we discussed the idea of to help build community involvement and interest among people online, to start writing new content for Cyberia, just tech tips. Well, we call them tech tips. They don't necessarily have to be something that's specifically a tip about a piece of technology. It could be a summary from something that you've learned somewhere else, a story of something very interesting that you've done, but new content explaining what's going on at Cyberia or with the members of Cyberia or their interests. So if you, as a member, would like to contribute to that, go ahead, write up a couple paragraphs, email them to Austin at Cyberia LTE. I'll be sure to get them posted on. They will be posted directly on the Cyberia, clubcyberia.org, CyberiaLTE.org website. I will be doing a little bit of editing, adding pictures where necessary, but we really would like this to be your voice, the membership voice, the public voice that we are presenting as the voice of Cyberia. So just be aware of that. I think that about, as far as other things concerning marketing, not a whole lot to add there. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, equipment.
Equipment is in standing order generally. We've got a couple new pieces of equipment in. We've got a parts washer that I'm very excited about. That should allow us to decrease anything coming in. Occasionally people use Cyberia Alpha for their car repair, and to whatever degree we can offer that help. That's completely viable and needs to be able to be slightly catered to. Obviously, hoping for a garage at some point, or whatever the case may be with DIY. But I like the parts washer concept. It allows any degreasing of any metallic part, where I don't know if it crosses over into anything else. But 14-inch chop saw in the metal shop has been put completely aside due to its trigger issues, and I've replaced that at a low cost through Harbor Freight. So we have that. That needs to get belted down if anybody wants to talk about whether that should be on a board or whether that should be put right through the steel desk that it's mounted to. but it does chatter a little when it moves, when it cuts. So we need to, safety-wise, bolt that down somehow, strap it down, whatever needs to happen to make that a nice solid unit. And we need to be careful about those blades, of course. Small chop saw at the metal shop has a nick in the blade. I don't know how in the world that occurred. I assume it's going to be a very cheap fix and all that, but we need to keep an eye out for those sorts of anomalies in cutting. If you guys notice anything, if anybody notices anything that is a safety concern, it needs to be brought to my attention so it can be looked at. So those are the new piece of equipment. We've also got in a new router bit for Andy's CNC upcoming interest of getting the Fireball kicked out to an even greater. Yep, that arrived today. And a trigger for the Mitsubishi chop saw, which is going to need to be installed here in the very near to get us back up to a high-grade cutting on lumber, which is an awesome tool. And so that's been ordered and received today, so that should be fixed here in the next couple of days, hopefully. Otherwise, like you guys said, in the building, we're progressing towards putting a separating wall between Quadrant 1 and Quadrant 2, which is going to allow us to hopefully work towards some semblance of shop vacuum old tools in Quadrant 2, a wood shop for dust collection as a permanent upgrade. That's going to be awesome. I do need to move some things around in there. I need to bolt down the drill press, so that's a project that really needs to happen. And I don't like where it's at. I think I've heard that reflected through other members. It's not in the right kind of place. To me, all that cutting on one side needs to be drilling on the other side. So I'm looking at putting it where the knife grinder is at the moment and putting the drill bit assortment there, permanent with it, possibly on that table. So that kind of needs to happen, and possibly use some help on mounting that to the floor. I'm sure that's going to be a fun part. Otherwise, I would love to see some 14-inch cutting coming into this place, and the compressor, again, upgrades. If we can at all find a compressor from any member that has a big 40, 60, or 80 gallon, let's say in working order now, I'll throw that out there. We're at 3 months, I believe, of not a thing done, but we'll let that timer run to the year. And if anybody has a 60-gallon compressor that is not being used, I'd love to pneumatic the whole metal shop, possibly the landing for some research and lab area planned. And I think that would be a really amazing thing to have the ability to install pneumatic wherever we want it to go. Cobalt sells a whole kit that you can do all of the whatever quarter-inch fittings and all that on a main line that's strung in. I don't think we need that, but the point is pneumatic's a really nice upgrade. And if that were to happen, I would like to see, throwing this out there, a large compressor go up into the back corner of the landing as opposed to down in the shop where you have to constantly be blasted by it while you're using it or the tools. If that makes sense to anybody, tend to build a closet around it, insulated, keeps it quiet, ventilated, whatever, and we have a big, we do need a big, bad compressor to run a metal shop from. So other than that, I'll leave it at that. You know, Cassie is puttering around very slowly. Lapidary is getting set up very slowly, but due to new membership, we have a serious amount of interest in that now. So we should be able to start offering classes as soon as that's set up, depending on how Monday meeting goes. And if there's anything else that anybody wants to talk about, I know we have a lot of new parts coming in. I've ordered a lot of stuff. The budget's down to basically nothing. So we're going to have to see if there's any way we can get rid of this tent for budgeting, to go into equipment or wherever that's supposed to go. Monica promised that he would go ahead and talk to that person as soon as he could when I talked to him yesterday about that. So otherwise, since the lasers are coming in, Quadrant 1 is being dedicated to CNCs and lasers. We have a new member, Ian, yeah, I don't know if it's cool to call him out, but yeah, we have a new member, Ian, who's showed a lot of interest in CNC, breathing a lot of life into that. He's brought in his own. He's also looking at buying one now that will allow us to use our plasma cutter for CNC purposes. It's two grand worth of rig that he wants everybody to be able to use, and he wants to hook up the plasma cutter to it as soon as he can configure it to do so. So that's a nice little bonus of an upgrade of a member coming in and doing some awesome work. Again, I did, not to call out any specific doctors, but I did give a tour the other day, and you know, we need to be able to follow up with these people that we give tours to, possibly have another member of the board call that person up and say, we heard we gave you a tour, we'd love to see you down here, what are your feelings on the subject, is there anything you didn't like? I'm the person to bitch out, let me know any concerns, you know, where you stand on membership benefits. So that we get to follow up with these people, and it's not just that they had a great experience and are thinking about it, it's more, yeah, I loved it, yeah, I'd love to set up, I'd love to donate you guys some equipment, I'd love to join for membership or whatever. That increases our tools. So that's how that ties into my presentation. I'll leave it at that.
Excellent. Events, can you beat that?
Well, tomorrow we've got the Amazon Alexa Hackathon. So one of the Amazon developers, Nemo Doran, will be here. We have about 13 people signed up so far. Expecting a lot of walk-ins, probably. Got Subway ordered for catering. Also going to be picking up some coffee. There's coffee, important when you're doing coding.
Water.
And water, yes, lots and lots of water. We've also got, in the coming weeks, classes at the library, A+ certification, background information kind of classes. That, I believe, begins August 17th, Wednesday. We've got that continuing through the next few weeks.
It's a 3-day class, so every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
And that's at the 38th Street Library?
It's,
Okay.
what, you know the name of the bridge?
38th Street Library.
38th Street Library. Okay. Some of them have.
Is that correct, Joanna? Oh, she's got her microphone muted, so you can't hear. Okay, East 38th.
38th Street Library. We've also got a couple new classes scheduled. We're retiring the Introduction to 3D Printer class, splitting them into 2 different ones. Hopefully allow us to get a lot more in depth for those 2 individual classes. We've got the aforementioned Barnes & Noble Mini Maker Fair. Hope to post volunteer information for that as soon as possible. We don't have any information right now as far as the times during the day or themes involved.
What days is it?
November 5th and Saturday and Sunday. We've also got the Labor Day party, September
3rd.
3rd. That was my first. September 3rd. It is a kitchen. Advertising for that will be blasted out in the coming week. Tell your friends, tell your family. Yep, it's here at the space. Tell your friends, tell your family. Invite them all. Bring food, bring a cake, bring snacks, bring chips, bring all the things.
How many are we expecting? Did we do this last year?
No,
We
first
did
time.
not do this last year. We've done similar things in previous years, usually more around the winter holidays for Christmas kitchens and similar things.
Do we have anything in the budget for that, expenditure-wise?
We will. So we've also got, we will be at the Indie FurCon, August 30th. Myself and Frank will be doing a panel there for all interested.
I believe Mark Kroll is joining us as well.
Yeah, Mark Kroll will be joining us as well. That is not currently posted on the website. There's not really a huge need for volunteers there, but
Okay.
if that's the sort of thing that interests you, feel free to come by. I believe that about covers it for events. Oh, we've also talking to a local school about doing a 3D printing class at their Butler campus. Targeting elementary age kids, 20 to 30 kids at a time. That's looking to be late October, early November. That's still in the early planning stages, so not a lot of information there yet. The robotics team will be beginning their season for the 2016-2017 season here soon in September. September 9th, I believe, is when the kickoff is as well.
I believe it's the 10th. But
The 10th?
it's a Saturday, so it should be the 10th.
Okay. So if you know any kids ages 11 to 18 that would be interested in that sort of thing, let them know about it. The robotics team meets every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that about covers it for all events-related things.
Okay.
All right, website.
There's currently upgrades and reorganization being done at the website. I can't tell you what they're doing because people are asking for permission to upgrade and change the website, but not telling me what they're doing. Mostly because they don't know what they're doing. They're going at it kind of without a plan at the moment. So we'll see where this goes and what needs to be done to help them get this done and make sure that it remains usable. Run into a few issues of that, where things were not where they should have been. Oh, the website will also be where we are going to have the sign up for the laser. I will post it. I will send a broadcast email to everyone with information on how to sign up to use the laser when that is ready to go online.
We decide on the software we're using for the scheduling.
No,
Okay.
that's kind of why it was
Then
as soon as possible. As discussed earlier. As discussed earlier.
then just to kind of put it out there, if anybody has any recommendations on scheduling software for equipment that maybe we haven't heard of,
Okay.
please recommend it.
Yes, I need to know by Monday.
All right, let's do.
No, nothing new to talk about that hasn't been talked about already.
Okay. So, no break. You still need to transfer the server.
Yeah.
All right,
That is no break.
so on to new business. We have received some LED lights from our landlord, but they need to be installed.
We have about 25 LED bulbs. Haven't done a hard count yet, but those will be going primarily into alpha and quadrant 1 and the metal shop are the two most likely candidates.
Not quadrant 1.
Why not quadrant 1?
Quadrant 1 is almost exclusively the round explosion-proof lighting, and those do not work with the directional LED lights do not work for that. We would need LED lights that are about 3 times the cost that radiate in all directions as opposed to these which just radiate in one.
That's all right. We have some more enclosures for putting in additional lighting over the laser area, things like that.
Okay, so we're talking about additional lighting, not replacing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's.
That's pretty much it on lights.
Okay, so next item is I guess I just do that one. So the Hendricks County can't remember exactly what the name of the group is, but they are the ARRL Amateur in Radio Emergency Services coordinator for Hendricks County. They were asking around if people could donate some coax, and it so happens we have a ton of coax that we have not been able to sell, and isn't really worth much in value. So I was thinking we could possibly get rid of some of our coax that way through them. Figured we probably should vote on it if somebody would like to.
I'd like to make a motion that we approach them and offer the coax that we do not need for their use, rather than letting it go bad upstairs. I'll second that.
Right. Second. So, everyone who agrees to approach them and offer them our coax, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. Okay, motion carries. We will contact them and see if they are interested. All right, next item. Hard copies of the IRS letter and tax returns will be in the Cyberia locker.
Yeah, it was pointed out to me that we need to have a hard copy available in case it is requested. So that's going to be in the Cyberia locker. The Cyberia locker is going to be identified by, I'm going to put a stick-on Cyberia logo on it. Frank and I will have the combination block to that. I'm probably going to just make that available to all of the officers then, all of the officers and directors, so that if it needs to be produced by somebody while we're not available, then somebody can get that.
Would we have reason to lock it?
Yes, because it's kept in there in the file with all of the other personal information that's in the signed waivers, member lists, and other records that we keep.
Oh.
So that's why it is locked.
Okay. Okay.
Also, that keeps it from accidentally wandering off in the trash because somebody doesn't recognize that it's an important piece of information.
Very good. All right, next item on the agenda. Which I'm not sure we can do because we don't have the dollar amount, but we were supposed to vote for money for the trifle flyer expense.
I would like to see if we can vote to set aside at least a certain amount of money to get things started.
Okay.
I don't want to have to wait another month in order to do this.
Do you remember what the estimate that
122 for 1,205. Printed in full.
so do we want to just go ahead and set aside,
200.
I was going to say 3 just in case it's a rate above 200?
I was thinking 200 would be good, and then if it's a grade above that, we can pass the hat and then ask for reimbursement.
Okay.
Ask for reimbursement next week.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So, should we have a motion?
I motion that we add 200 to the marketing budget for the purpose of buying items.
I will second that motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Next item on the agenda. Temporary reimbursement for events budget expenditures.
For the Alexa Hackathon, food is expensive. We use purchase and catering. The total is about $400 because it was an expedited order. I don't have the receipt available at the moment, but I will be picking that up tomorrow morning. We will also be reimbursed by Hackster after the event. This would cover expenditures of the event until the reimbursement by Hackster.
Okay.
Are we looking at total reimbursement on that?
Yeah. We are being gifted $500 by Amazon in addition to the revenue from the ticket purchases. And then separate, Hackster is reimbursing the cost of people.
So we will have a good amount of money for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a vote for all of the funding required to satisfy that need for extra training.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
I
All opposed, say no. Motion carries.
There's a
Yep, I'll get to that.
Percent for the program that is interested in feeding us branch.
So, next issue.
Okay.
Discuss cost for event and beta.
Okay. Was there any cost that we know about for opening and fixing that event that we need to set aside, or is this too early to say?
nothing at the moment aside from the reimbursement for the screws and washers.
Oh, those were so small. I consider that just a anonymous donation.
Then at this point, we don't have a cost. To give people an idea of what's going on is the exhaust fan that's up there is a belt-driven fan. The fan itself seems to be in good shape or okay shape as well as the pulley on that fan. The motor is George McGord. So we would be looking at purchasing a new motor.
We maybe because we should have one of those motors lying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because, yes, we might be able to find another one of these miraculously sitting next to it.
Okay.
We will be, if possible, scavenging one of those motors to place that along with my belts. Not that will go into the next meeting for vote if it's not already covered by the facility budget.
Okay. I've got some miscellaneous V-belts at home, so give me some ideas to how long it is, and I'll see if it's one that I've got.
We also have miscellaneous V-belts upstairs on the landing underneath lapidary, as well as hanging on the separation between the wooden landing and the steel landing. And if I may, we're also going to need to include probably the power on-off junction box there, and the wiring going to the motor.
Turns out we had wiring switches.
Awesome. Yeah, duly noted.
Pallets and pallets of it.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, pulleys would be the big thing that we'd have to worry about. I think we've probably got enough to scavenge the rest of what's been described. It's just a matter of
There are several.
I was going to say, that's a good point. We might have to end up purchasing a pulley
yeah.
I don't see why.
to fit if we get a motor with a different size shaft.
We can retrofit that. That's not.
Is there also a machine shop?
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah,
why I
I
said
wouldn't-
might.
I wouldn't say it's nothing, but I'm just saying that would be the only thing that we don't actually have on hand that I could say that between the group, unless Frank's got something at home.
Well, I have plenty of pulleys at
As
home.
someone who has machined pulleys for constant velocity transmissions,
Nope.
the main pulley is nothing.
Right?
Okay, I'll agree there. Okay.
So probably don't need anything if we do, or we'll do it next time.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Next item on the agenda, we need to purchase some glass plates and 3 orange pies and 200 millimeter Kapton tape and filament for the 3D printer lab, which is yes, in need of some.
On a similar note, I will also be working on a guide for best practices for running 3D printers, because I've noticed part of the issue that we are having with people not being able to use the printers is that they replace the glass beds if they notice that one isn't clean. Which, for those of you that don't know, when you do that, the glass plates are not flat, so you will need, every time you replace that glass bed, you will need to redo the Z-homing. It's one of those things that, if you're not aware of, seems like it shouldn't be a big deal. It is a big deal, even if the plate looks dirty or covered in gunk. It's fine. It will work excellent.
Yes. It would be better if it's dirty.
As long as you're not a part on it.
But
Anyway, yeah, that's actually one of the things that causes most of our jammed extruders is that it's been replaced with something that's just enough taller to keep the extruder from putting out the first layer, and that's burning out our extruders or causing an awful lot of backup in there. So that's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
All right.
no, we're not done with that one because that's a vote for cost item. Did we get a price for the glass plates that you wanted to have to be replaced?
I know we talked about it, and we had a price for just getting the cuts for standard glass. I don't believe that we actually compiled that together.
I compiled a list of 3 places to get borosilicate glass
Yeah.
that was pre-cut to the correct size, 200 millimeter by 213, and then also pointed out a place where we could get window glass, but the discussion was that window glass may not be adequate or appropriate. So if we know how many pieces we're looking at, we can do a price on that.
Just 4 pieces.
So if we're looking at 4 pieces of glass, they're about $14 a piece, 13 to 14, well, 12 to 14 a piece plus shipping. So I'm estimating that they'll be 14 a piece. The 4 pieces at 14, 3 pies at 15, and the roll of Kapton tape was 22.
So
I noticed that we are down to half rolls on the filament, but let's wait until we get reimbursed from Kindercars before we order any of the filament, because then we'll be able to use that money for replacing filament. So what we'd be looking at is $123.
I would motion that we set aside $130 for the purchase of orange pies, glass plates, and Kapton tape for 3D printers.
Probably 150 should be handled.
Are these Amazon Prime prices or?
Kapton tape was I believe in Amazon, including shipping. The plates could be gotten from Prime inside the price range of $14 from Prime. I will point out that the current account is not a Prime account, but we did not sign up for a 30-day Prime membership trial, and we may wish to make, given the amount of things that we order.
So let's bring that up at this meeting. At the next meeting, we'll be voting on whether or not to get a Prime membership.
Yeah, but I think that we should go ahead and sign up for the 30-day trial on it. and then we'll deactivate it next month if the vote goes against it. But anyway, yeah, these prices were including shipping. But they are prices subject to fluctuation. So what I looked at 2 days ago may not be what's available on the website today.
I just say 150. Nice room. I motion that we set aside $150 for the purchase of said items for the 3D printing lab.
I second.
All right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay. The last item on new business is aluminum bed for the Fireball B90 CNC. Apparently, it's no longer listed on their products.
Yeah, the B90 CNC is no longer that version is no longer a carried product.
Right.
They've gone to a Mark II of that.
Okay, so we need to build one, presumably out of some Mississippi rail or something.
Yeah, something like that. We just need to. There's documentation online for places on how to build a rail set like that. It's just a matter of we need to look it up, price it out individually before we can do that. We can't just say it's going to be this amount because we can order the kit from robotics.
Is there anyone available with quick access to Jira that they can add that as a Jira task? Just a little priority one, that way it's logged in.
So,
I can add that just at the end of the meeting, yeah. And since this is the last item on the meeting, unless somebody else has got something else, that would be very soon from that.
so Joanna has mentioned
There's
20 people have signed up for the 8+ program, and there's interest in repeating at Central. But need to see how to work with budgeting for fees and program planning procedures at the library.
sounds great, Joanna. And if you're still there, I'll be talking to you within the next couple days.
All right. Anybody have any other new business?
Did we bring up in previous meeting or posted anywhere about voting on board education? No. Okay.
We did bring up the insurance, and that was supposed to be brought back up this month. I forgot to put that on the list. I actually wrote out a list and got erased. Oops. Yes.
Well, we should probably.
If I may, where are we at on the large CNC? I haven't seen really anything happen with that.
Oh, Ian Manning asked if he could direct that.
Nice.
But he needs people to work with him, so I was doing that kind of quietly until we actually had people who will work with him to help get that done.
JJ has returned all the parts to it. They're all with it. And as far as schematics go, JJ, the last word that I had with JJ, he said that all the schematics should be on the table for it.
Okay.
Now, is that going to go into quadrant 1 as well? I mean, assume as the CNC, if we could have big, little, small sort of in a row, that would be awesome.
That'd be up to you.
That bears
It's between
further
you two.
discussion once we have an idea of the laser and everything marked out.
Yeah,
the columns,
that's technically not a member meeting issue. That's an exec issue.
that is
You and Austin could fight over where that stuff goes. It'll,
And I forgot I did also have information on this to bring up for vote next month, and to bring up whether or not we should vote on simplified reading.
correct. That is on the table for a few months. So, somebody want to make a motion on the simplified 3D? Roughly.
Okay, I do not remember if we have what the maker prices were on that. And do you remember that, Dave? Because that was something you had looked up and talked to them about.
Simplify 3D.
Okay, I've got some Simplify 3D stuff up here. All it shows, though, is the individual license.
Okay, so here's where it differs between an individual and an institution. They'll give us a 10% discount if we have some for it. But where on the individual accounts, or the individual license, you can install it on 2 computers. On the institutional license, you can install it on 1. So we would have to buy 2 licenses, for example, if we wanted 2 computers. And that's 10% off. So that'd be $268.20 for 2 of them. Or half that to 1.
Okay.
We can only buy it later. So
Yeah.
every one on there would be very useful.
Now, with Simplify 3D, some of the features that you've used on that, besides the ability to manually pick the slicing information and adding supports, one of the things that you have is the recover of print.
To an extent.
Okay. Can that information be manually input? Because we won't have direct control of the printer from Simplify 3D to the Octoprint versions.
Don't need to control the printer. What you do is you generate completely new chip.
Okay.
So what you would do, if my print fails in the middle or it stops extruding somewhere, what I do is I take my calipers and I use the depth gauge and I measure the height of the top layer of the print. And then that tells me the height. Then I can go into Simplify 3D in the G-code generator and tell it to start at that height. Or maybe I'll bump it down 1 layer. So I know what each layer height is. So just take 1 layer height off.
Okay.
Yeah, that has been extraordinarily successful.
Okay. So for $135, we'd be able to get one of these licenses.
Is that a recurring cost or a fixed?
No, it's a one-time cost. Yeah, that's the problem. Compared to using Cura and Slicer.
I don't touch any of those anymore, in my opinion.
Another benefit of using Simplify 3D is the guide that you've been using a lot for diagnosing issues with the 3D printers is tailored to simplified reading, and it's
Right, they're the only people who have actually bothered to write a troubleshooting guide that takes a photograph of the part and says, this is what's wrong.
When it looks like this is what you change.
Right, and they have their whole own language for describing every setting in the thing, so sometimes there isn't even an equivalent setting in another program. So that's kind of another issue.
Okay.
But, you know, minor detail there. But nonetheless, the software is not, I wouldn't call it great, but compared to Cura and the PDA host, it's very good.
Okay. I'm a cheapskate. Do you think it'd be worth $135 for me to buy this?
If you're going to 3D print something, a lot of things, yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
There we have it.
I know I bought it.
Okay.
I'll make
Well, I know you bought it, but I'm cheap. But I'm cheaper than you are. You know, I'm the guy who will take and clean off an oil belt. And
I can tell you this, I went from after 3 kilometers of filament and not having more than about 3 good prints, I have had maybe 2 failures in the next 2 kilometers. So,
I'll make a motion that we spend $135 and get one license. Or,
I will second that. I will second that motion.
okay, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. All right, motion carries.
that should alleviate some of the material use.
Yeah, because a lot of what our use is bad prints that have failed, and can't be restarted, and things like that.
Yeah, that was my main issue, is that it wouldn't, my extruder, I mean, the extruder would frequently just stop extruding. So it would be just, you know, perfect print up to an inch high and it would stop. And, you know, that still happens occasionally. The extruder just simply jams up for whatever reason, or the filament will have a nick in it or something.
That I found a lot of the time was that is the separate motor driver for the extruder will have a thermal shutdown.
That can happen. It depends on your printer. It's not been the issue with mine. Mine has pretty much always been the filament. Microscopic inconsistencies. There's only 100 microns of clearance through the tube on mine for the filament. So there's even a speck of dust or something can jam the tube. So a lot of the time what will happen is, if it's on like an 18-hour print, it'll be chewing up the filament a little bit, and then a speck of the filament dust gets down into the tube, and when it hits the bottom, it just stops. It wedges in there and blocks it up. So, what was the other thing?
Okay. The other thing was insurance, directors and operators insurance, and the drive other car insurance. Director and operator insurance was estimated to be $750 per year. The drive other car was estimated to be, where did my phone go? $166 for the year.
I motion that we upgrade our insurance.
I just wanted to check one more thing real quick. The driver's insurance does cover individuals if they're in their personal vehicle for business, though.
What the drive other car coverage is coverage to protect Cyberia's interest.
Okay.
When someone else is driving on Cyberia business in a vehicle that is not owned by Cyberia. In other words, if Frank is delivering to the restock or recycle place a trailer full of valuable junk, and he happens to have a brake failure, go through an intersection, and hits another car. That other car, finding out that Frank was doing this for his very popular and affluent makerspace. Trust me, people think that these roofer guys that are driving around in rusty old vans have money. They'll sue for anything. But anyway, they decide, their lawyer more accurately decides, he's going to sue everybody to see who's got enough money to pay for whatever he wants the client to get. That's his job. He can lose his license if he doesn't. But the point is, Cyberia gets named in this.
Gotcha.
This is the coverage that extends our liability to that situation. Considering the number of times that we drive around doing stuff for Cyberia, we need this coverage. This one's a no-brainer. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about or not remember what director and operator's insurance covers? Okay. Then
Anybody second?
I will second that motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. Motion carries.
Okay. We will work on the application over the next few weeks and submit that. And I will contact Chris Conley about adding the drive other car insurance as soon as possible.
Okay. Excellent.
That one really bothers me.
Yes. Agree. All right. Any other new business?
Yes. One last thing. This is a start for discussion. This will be old business next time. For those who know about CNCing, VCarve Pro has a Makerspace edition. VCarve is a very well-known and popular program for carving out signs and converting two-dimensional artwork into three-dimensional cuts. It is a very good piece of software. They have a $99 per year subscription that allows us to distribute a version for any member to work with, but it is linked to our CNC control software. So it's linked to our license. So they would be able to work and set up whatever they wanted to and then bring it to here. I would like to invite everyone to get familiar with what VCarve Pro is and what it does. Start looking at some YouTube videos. Start reading a little bit on there, and I think you will find that this is a piece of software that we would be well to have. And the price is excellent at $99 a year for an ongoing subscription in order to have this kind of access to it. Excellent. We will revisit this next month.
Oh, one item that I forgot to mention, we have received 11 licenses for ScrewCam. And the short version, what that is, it's a CNC post processor.
It's a CAM module, actually. Yeah. Which means that it is what converts a 3D part. It's one of the modules that convert a 3D part to a tool path. And it does not just 3-axis, but it will also do 4-axis, 5-axis, and robotic arm.
Right. So that kind of extends our capabilities with AutoCAD Fusion 360, where this thing sits after it, and if we find that, for example, that we have a machine or a tool path that AutoCAD Fusion 360 cannot calculate, then we can output its output of its CAM module into this CAM module, and then create a toolpath that will work, basically.
When people have discussed with me what is the limitation, why we can't just build our own 5-axis CNC, it has been the CAM software and the lack of availability that is been the limiting factor. This will not just work with CAM software. We could also build robotic arms for pick and place that would be able to be controlled by this software. You know, this is really cool stuff, and we got it for free.
Yep, it is definitely a big money for C. So it basically gives us one to run on the CNCs, and 10 to have down here for teaching and designing.
Or if we're running on different systems that get built later on that can't be connected to the 3-axis machines.
Yep. So we definitely, at least I have some plans for some rotary access things. Yeah, which the giant robot arms and giant robot arms. Giant robot arms. So anyway, any other new business before we close this up? Make a motion to end the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Right.